From the Zoomerplex in historic Liberty Village, the Zoomer with Marissa Lennox.
Welcome to a special broadcast live from Zoomer Hall, a joint presentation from the New Classical FM and the Zoomer. I'm Marissa Lennox. As a Canadian-Ukrainian, it's an honor to host this very important concert. For the next hour, we're going to celebrate Ukraine with some of the country's best composers performed by none other than Ukrainian-Canadian pianist Anastasia Rizikov. We'll also learn about the important work currently being done by the Canada-Ukraine Foundation and Anastasia's upcoming benefit to support the foundation. But right now, please welcome the sensational pianist, Anastasia Rizikov. Absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
So today's event and your upcoming benefit concerts, Anastasia, are meant to raise funds for the people of Ukraine. So first of all, tell me a little bit about your background and your connection to the country.
Well, I was born in Canada. However, my parents, my family immigrated from Ukraine during the falling of the Soviet Union, so I am a first-generation Canadian. And I essentially grew up, my parents brought back to Canada all of their traditions, their culture, their language. So, I'm fluent in both Ukrainian and Russian. Those were my first languages. And I grew up listening to Ukrainian music. I grew up going to Ukrainian Orthodox church. I grew up playing at Ukrainian music festivals every year. I grew up in a Ukrainian restaurant where my mother worked and sang every week. And I would listen, I know all Ukrainian pop songs and all Ukrainian.
So that musical gene obviously runs in the family. Now, I understand you still have family in Ukraine. Are you in touch with them?
Of course, daily. And I have cousins, I have my father, I have my grandmother in Ukraine. It's, they don't want to move. They don't want to go away from the war,
Because it's their home,
Yes.
or is it because they're fighting as well?
Both. No, they don't want to leave their home. Why should they? And
Yep.
why should they, right? Would you like it if somebody came here and, decided to turn everything upside down? No. And the same here. They want to continue living their lives in their homes.
How would you describe how they're feeling right now? Because one thing I know about Ukrainians is that they have this famous indestructible spirit and strength that is unparalleled.
I do know it's true that Ukrainians are so strong in their spirit. And, when they want to be, like in this particular situation, they can be very obstinate, and this is a great quality in this current circumstances. However, I don't even know what's going on through their heads right now.
All right, quick break. We'll be right back with more of Anastasia Rizikov. Welcome back to this special broadcast. I'd like to welcome back Anastasia Rizikov, internationally acclaimed Ukrainian-Canadian pianist. Anastasia, please take it away. That was close to a 9-minute piece, so I don't know how your fingers kept going for that long, but it's incredible. We'll be right back with more music and conversation with Anastasia. Welcome back to this special broadcast. We are live from Znaimer Hall. Over the past weeks, Anastasia's been organizing benefit concerts for Ukraine, including one this weekend in Toronto. All the proceeds from this concert will go to the Canada-Ukraine Foundation in support of the victims of this senseless war. And in just a few minutes, I'll be speaking with their president, Viktor Hetmanchuk, about the important work they are doing. But first, I'd like to welcome back Anastasia. Anastasia, what will you be playing next?
I will be playing 2 preludes by Anatoly Kosanatolsky, and I'm very proud also to announce that his son is actually in the audience today.
Take it away. Now, through music, you are raising funds to support the victims of the war in Ukraine, and you've partnered with the Canada-Ukraine Foundation to do this. Victor, you are the president of this organization. I'm delighted to have you here as well. You both are heroes in my eyes. Tell me a little bit about your organization.
The Canada-Ukraine Foundation started in 1995 in Canada. We were formed to support projects in Ukraine. We're the coordinating body for all Ukrainian Canadian organizations.
Now, you've been very active, I understand, the last 8 or so years since the first invasion since the invasion back in 2014. Is that right?
That's correct. I was in Kyiv in February 2014 with a government mission, and that was the day the Russians invaded Crimea. So we were on standby to evacuate. So I've been fighting this war for 8 years.
And what are you doing over there on the ground? For those who are listening or watching today, how are their contributions, how will their contributions make an immediate difference?
Okay, I'll speak specifically about what does $57 buy you? $57 buys you 20 kilograms of food, which will feed one person for 1 month. We have ordered 400 tons of food. That food is now coming in from Poland, and we have delivered it to Ivano-Frankivsk, Odessa, Kharkiv, and Chernihiv. So your dollars at work within 7 days can put food on the table of somebody that doesn't have any.
And you were sending dollars, day 4 of this current war?
Yeah, that's right. We started day 4. Our partner in Kyiv, we were already feeding and providing blankets. It's instant.
And you also have programs on some of the bordering regions too. Tell me about those.
That's correct. We have a program in Moldova, Romania, Slovakia, Hungary, and Poland.
And what are you doing over there?
Well, as the refugees come across the border, there's a reception committee, and they feed them for 2 or 3 days, and then they move on into the rest of Europe.
Well, it sounds like you are doing incredible work, and you must be so proud to partner with an organization.
Extremely.
Proud to be here.
All right, we'll be right back with more from Anastasia Rizikov. Welcome back to this special broadcast. We are live from Znaimer Hall. Let's welcome back Anastasia Rizikov to perform music by another tremendous Ukrainian composer. So throughout the day, obviously, you are playing music from Ukrainian composers. Who will we be listening to next?
Next, you will be listening to Viktor Kosenko, and I will be playing his Gavot in B minor.
We are live from Znaimer Hall with a special broadcast. Ukrainian-Canadian pianist Anastasia Rizikov live in concert showcasing the great accomplishments of Ukrainian composers. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be back with more music and conversation with Anastasia. Welcome back to this very special broadcast. We are here live in Znaimer Hall. Coming up, we're going to chat more with Anastasia Rizikov about her upcoming benefit concert. But right now, music by another tremendous Ukrainian composer. Anastasia, tell us about who you'll be playing next.
I'll be playing a Ukrainian dance by Igor Shamol. Let's turn it up a little bit. Some Ukrainian dancing.
All right, take it away. Now, your benefit concerts are organized by a foundation which you co-founded. Tell me about it.
The Pisanka Foundation was founded by me and my friends in Paris, Ukrainian and Belarusian. The three of us started this foundation because we believe that there is so much amazing Ukrainian culture, music, art, writers that people don't know about and that they should know about. And this is also part of the reason why we're doing these benefit concerts, of course, to raise money for Ukraine. Of course, this is the main priority, but also to show to everybody, to show to the world what is actually Ukraine, because a lot of people before the start of this war had no idea. I mean, you know how many times I would say I'm going to Kyiv and somebody would ask me, oh, what part of Russia is that? You know, so people don't know. And I think that people should know what exactly is Ukrainian music and culture. I mean, it's very, very specific and very special in its harmonies, very special in its modes. It's a taste, it's a color of its own. So I think that it's time that we all put Ukraine on the map.
Well, you were clearly very passionate about it. And it's so true. There are so many incredible Ukrainian composers that maybe don't get their fair share and aren't as well known as, say, Bach, Beethoven, Mozart.
Yes.
So why did you showcase the four that you selected for today?
Lysenko and Kosenko are staples of Ukrainian music, really the founders of Ukrainian classical music. Lysenko was a writer of many operas, of songs, Ukrainian songs, which have become the kind of anthems of Ukraine. His songs are iconic. Meanwhile, Kosenko, on the other hand, was a real master of the keyboard. He wrote piano concerti. He also wrote he wrote symphonies. He wrote concerti for piano, and he wrote concerti for violin. He has a huge oeuvre. He was a really brilliant composer. So that's why I thought to showcase those two. And of course, there's Kosanatolsky and there's Chameau. Kosanatolsky is an interesting story because when I was first approached by Kosanatolsky's son, he presented me his father's concerto, and I heard this music, and I thought, wow, it's a pity that nobody doesn't know this music. And so my dream is to eventually have the opportunity to perform this concerto, maybe even to record it eventually. That's kind of what I've been working on right now as well with the foundation, is to record this concerto of Kosanatolsky.
I would like to ask you something that perhaps a little more controversial, but how do you feel about playing Russian composers? Because especially in light of what we're seeing with concert halls around the world, canceling programs featuring Tchaikovsky, for example, among others.
I'm going to be completely honest. While my project focuses on Ukrainian artists, I want to showcase only Ukrainian artists. I, however, don't, and I don't want to receive any hate for this, but I don't support this movement of canceling Russian composers, because I believe that they had nothing to do with the conflict that we are seeing right now. And I'm sure, musicians are always peacemakers. Musicians, composers are peacemakers. I am sure that they would be against this war. In fact, most of Russian composers were rebelling against the regimes that they lived in. So I disagree personally. As much as I love Russian composers. I think that I understand, but I also understand why. In this current climate, we are backing away from Russian composers. However, to contradict, during the Second World War, nobody canceled German composers. So, because again, Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, what did they have to do with the war that happened during World War II?
Well, I'm glad to hear your perspective on that. And you are obviously uniquely qualified to speak on this. So thank you. All right, quick break. We'll be right back with more of Anastasia Rizikov. Well, we are back in Zoomer Hall with Ukrainian-Canadian pianist Anastasia Rizikov, who, through her music, is raising funds to support the victims of the war in Ukraine. We'll get back to the music. Who will you be playing next?
I will be playing a transcription that I wrote of Ihor Chameau. So we will continue with the composer of Ihor Chameau. But I wrote a transcription of a song that I think is incredibly beautiful, incredibly moving, and it is called "How Can I Not Love You, Kyiv of Mine? Як тебе не любити, Києве мій?" It's a song that was composed, if I'm not mistaken, in the 1960s, and it has since become the kind of unofficial anthem of the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv.
God bless you. If that last piece didn't bring the entire audience to tears, I don't know what could. You are a beacon of hope. You are so incredibly kind, but fierce on the piano, that is for sure. And it was my absolute pleasure to host this concert today. Now, for direct donations to the Canada-Ukraine Foundation, you can visit cufoundation.ca. Make sure to enter the word concert in the private message box. I'm Marissa Lennox. Thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a very special broadcast presented by theZoomer and the new Classical FM. Beautiful music for a crazy world.